So we live now.
We are live with Grif's custom lightsabers. Grif the White.
Hello, everybody. Y'all don't get to see me much.
Good afternoon, Grif. You got the
How you doing today?
you got the with Grif's custom lightsaber. Grif the White. Oh, we got a lag in there.
Hello, everybody. Y'all don't get to see me much.
Good afternoon, Grif. You got the try that. Okay, let's go there.
All right. Well, good
Sorry,
afternoon, everybody.
I had my YouTube up, and I think it was playing the. I had an echo. Anyhow, so we're here with Grif this afternoon. I've been looking forward to this. First off, how you doing lately?
I'm doing pretty good, man. You know, I had my little downtime last month, but I'm back at it now, feeling great.
So your confidence in your health is kind of restored.
I actually went and had my stress test and not EKG, an echo last week, and they both come out like a champ. So,
Awesome.
so I think I think I might have had a sinus infection, was feeling bad, and the tree chopping did me in, and all the aches and pains I had in there just kind of scared me. But I'm my left arm's still a little sore from whatever I tore in there, but feeling much better now, much better.
Awesome. There's always a bit of a ripple in the community when someone goes quiet, and there's like a select few that I can see that are kind of like something's not right. I know it's what do you call it, mythos, but when there's a lack of presence by a certain someone, there's often people in the community that are like, better message them, something's not right.
Right,
But,
right.
so
And
anyway.
I can understand that with everything that goes on. I mean, it seems like every other, or probably every month, somebody's getting screwed over by somebody or whatever. You know, I go through my spells where I'm quiet anyway. I just kind of get to where I got to break away for a little bit. But this time was a long time quiet. But I assure everybody, I'm not going nowhere. And those Mark 7s, I swear to God, they will be done soon.
You know, I have to plead ignorance on this. I'm not even sure what the design of the Mark 7 was. What was the last one? Mark 5 that had the like the kind of tractor wheel milling on
Yes.
the booster?
Yes, that was the Mark 5, and the Mark 7 was a combination of that saber and the Canon flash tube mixed in it. The Canon Model Y flash tube.
Right. Okay. That was a custom. You had guys send parts in for that, right?
The first one was made for what was that guy's name? He's another dude that left the community. Well-known guy. Brain farts, I have them a lot. Anyways, I made one for him and everybody liked it, so then I decided to make 7 of them, and I tracked down all the Canon flash tubes, you know, had them on hand beforehand and whatnot, but they are mostly done. Just it's always something comes up, and but I'm going to get those done. I'm not taking commissions right now. I haven't been for a while, other than a few little oddball things from previous customers, but so I've vowed to not take on any more work until those Canon, the Mark 7s are done.
Well, I don't think anyone questions or doubts your capability to.
Well, I'm human, and I'm sure some of them have had some doubts.
That's something I might bring up a little bit later, but I'll leave it there at present. It's no big secret, and you'll know where I'm going with this. It's no big secret who your like number one favorite character is. Talk to me about your interest in the franchise in Star Wars, and like your foray into making lightsabers and props, because you've done more than just lightsabers.
Well, I guess let me go back to the beginning. I'm a Star Wars fan from the very beginning. I remember I was 7 or 8 walking up to the theater by myself to see A New Hope when it first came out. And I've just been a Star Wars fan ever since. Old school Star Wars. A New Hope. I'll go ahead and talk about this a little bit too. A New Hope is my favorite movie, mostly because of childhood memories and the age I was, situations and family that related over, reasons why I gravitated so much to Star Wars and all. So A New Hope is my favorite movie. Empire Strikes Back is probably, almost my favorite too. It's more enjoyable to watch. I don't find myself as bored watching Empire Strikes Back. No matter how much I love A New Hope, it has some scenes in it. I'm like, it's dragging on. Let's get this going. But so those are my favorite ones. And I am old school Star Wars fan, so I'm not really loving all this new stuff that's happening so much. But wanting a lightsaber is the reason why I started machining. I learned how to machine specifically to make lightsaber for myself. I had no clue that all this stuff was going on online of people making all this stuff and doing all these installs. And, I was late to the game. Hell, I think, sorry for the cussing. I'll try to keep that down.
Okay.
We were on Prism, and I don't even remember what version, but I was really late to the game on electronics because I just had no clue none of this stuff existed. But so Star Wars was my motivation to learn how to machine, and it's been my motivation on a lot of things. Just through life, different things I've done. I've compared Obi-Wan Kenobi was kind of like my second voice in my head on what would he tell me to do through life, stuff like that. So Star Wars is deep for me.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I answered what you asked.
Well, I think it was more of a get to know you. You do go live more than a lot of people in the community to keep your customers updated on your page and whatnot. But I don't know. I guess I just wanted to give you a springboard just to talk freely and let people know where you're coming from.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. I was young and dumb, and I was a quiet kid. Always, playing by myself because I kind of little attitude, and I speak my mind sometimes too much, and so that keeps people away from me a little bit. So I've grown used to being a hermit. You can kind of tell. And
if I wasn't posting so many damn memes on Facebook, I'd probably be a hermit too. But
right,
whatever.
Right.
But,
Star Wars is life for me, man. And Fleetwood Mac, I love Fleetwood Mac too.
Nice.
But I'm not really digging all this stuff they're doing with the new Star Wars. The whole Bad Batch thing, I didn't even finish watching it, not because I disliked it, but just because it wasn't really my thing. Maybe if I was a blaster builder or a guy that does the con shows and whatnot, cosplay and all that stuff, I'd probably be more into Bad Batch, but I'm into lightsabers and Jedi stuff, so it just didn't keep my interest. Really looking forward to the more of the Boba Fett.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
That is, yeah, that's my big weight right there, man.
Well, let me touch on that because I was thinking about that as I mentioned to you before we went live. I don't need an excuse or a reason, but I was like, I got to get on with Grif today. I know A New Hope is. Sorry, didn't see that coming.
No problem.
It was actually the vaccination, so I'll have to pick that up after. Knowing that I was getting on with you, I had to go and watch A New Hope before we fired up the live button, and just to, get reacquainted with the fine nuances, the quotes, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, having just watched Sir Alec Guinness like 20 minutes ago, and I feel like Ewan McGregor did a fantastic job with younger Obi-Wan,
definitely.
What are your thoughts or your feelings on entering to the like getting close to the Obi-Wan series?
I'm super excited about it. I think there's a good crossover between the two actors. They really had the same look going on. You know, a lot of the features and all. I mean, it really blends together well, and he's a great actor.
Yeah.
So my only fear is what they do with the story. We're talking Disney, and yes, I'll bash Disney a little bit. They are the devil, in my opinion. I'm sorry for you guys that disagree, but hey, I got my opinions too. So I just hope that they do the story justice. I don't care if they do a bunch of stuff just to please the fans or not. You know, I'm happy either way. I'll take a scene with Darth Vader any day of the week. So I'm glad that they're bringing him into it too. I mean, I find that very exciting.
Right. I totally forgot that they were bringing. They did announce officially that they're bringing Hayden Christensen in.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't care if it's fan service or not. I'll take it. I'm a fan, and I'll be happy to be serviced.
Well, I mean, at Mandalorian season 2, they did some fantastic fan service right off the bat to kind of warm up the crowd and get people into the season, right? With the sand people, like just the props, speeders, blasters, everything kind of like warmed up the crowd, the viewer for season 2, right? It was awesome. I love
and I loved
Mandalorian
every
season
bit
2.
of it, man. Every bit of it. So serve me,
Yeah.
Disney.
All right, let's talk about your machining. So, in addition to lightsabers, and I found this really fascinating because being friends with different people in the community who now make lightsabers also have worked a lot on firearms. And I came to find out that you used to do gunsmithing.
I used to. Now, I was never. Let's just be clear. I was never a gunsmith licensed out there doing it for other people. Another thing that I learned how to do a lot of on my own, and I was good at it. And as far as the gunsmithing goes, I was actually wanting to originally get into that as a business. But man, the laws on stuff that you make, I'm like, I ain't touching that. Because there's so many gun haters out there, and the least little thing that goes bad, you're held liable for it. And I don't want no part of it. So I stopped that, and I just work on my own stuff when I need to. But there's so many parts available. God, you look at the lightsabers available now, and we say, man, there's so much stuff available. Go look at gun parts. You can go buy everything you need. Triggers, hammers. I mean, so it's really almost pointless to make any of your own stuff now, But yeah, I enjoy guns. I am definitely a gun nut, and everybody has their opinion on that too. And some people are very strong about it. Well, I'm very strong about my opinions. I'm keeping my guns, and so yeah, it's just more of a personal hobby there too.
Well, and it's funny because within the lightsaber community, with what's available for stock, raw material to machine lightsabers, I mean, you can pay $60 for a piece of, like, let's say 2-inch round stock bar, but when it comes down to chassis and electronics, everything's only available. The components are only available in certain sizes, so everything kind of has to revolve around that as far as the size of the chassis and whatnot. And I found it interesting. I was actually earlier scrolling through Facebook, and I saw won't say his name, but one of the machinists that I am friends with made a comment on a post about sites and stuff about purchasing or custom milling his Glock, I believe, to accept a sight, and I was like, okay. As a Canadian, I would have assumed that there would be a standard with firearms, but anyhow.
Right.
But
But yeah, funny that that you mentioned the internal chassis and all. A lot of that's like number one conversation having with the customers. They're telling me they want such and such on the exterior of the Saber at a such and such size, and I'm like, well, we got to start with the internals because we got to know what you want in it, what size the chassis is going to be before we can think about what you want on the outside. Because if you got an 1.8" inner diameter chassis, well, you can't go but a certain OD on the Saber. So that's kind of the building blocks right there. Is picking
right.
chassis and knowing the inner dimensions of the Saber.
So let me just stop you there. One question I see pop up in the groups all the time, and I would like to hear your perspective on it. When you're working on a Saber or design, are you working from the internals out or the exterior in?
I wouldn't say that I'm always working from the internals out, but the internals is definitely the first thing on my mind because I got to know what kind of a wall thickness I can have when I'm machining. People want to keep it as thin as possible. Now that I have I still use golf chassis some, but now that I have my 1-inch chassis that'll pretty much work in almost anything, that gives me a fair small internal size to work with so that I can keep my wall thickness, because you think that wall thickness wouldn't be such a big deal, but once you go to threading an inner and outer thread to work together, and by the time you cut the thread, well, you're down to not very much wall thickness right there at the point that takes the most stress. Right in front of your hand where it's screwing together and your middle emitter, that's where it's taking the most stress, and that's usually where your thinnest wall thickness is. And so knowing what inner diameter I'm working with based on the chassis is kind of crucial for me.
Yeah. Now, I feel like at that point, is there someone you want to throw a shout out to for your chassis stuff?
Well, Will Ailing on my chassis that I'm using right now, I would not have that chassis without him. He's the man because, like I say, that chassis I'm using now is kind of my dream chassis because it's so easy for me to fit in anything that I'm doing. And that hinge speaker, Will, you the man. As far other than that, Rick at Golf 3D, when I first started doing installs, I was machining Delrin, and that was kind of it's easy to machine, but once you get it down to kind of thin, it's not very strong, and it can not always turn out as pretty as you like. So without the different sizes that Goth has, things would have been more difficult for me there as well. So,
yeah. Oh, have you taken a shot at the removable chassis stuff yet?
No, I have not.
No.
I've got a new Graflex coming from the Graflex shop. I'm going to do that as my screen accurate, a New Hope Saber. So I might, be doing that one as removable. But beyond that, I've stuck with just having a chassis adapter and a stationary battery, non-removable.
Obviously I don't install, so I haven't installed one, but I have one out for install with the Golden Harvest and just prepping the sanding the chassis. As far as Solo Soul Maverick, little tiny short sled, and man, I'm excited to see where it goes and working on some of the not necessarily removable chassis, but some of the Gary Morris stuff, threading, like installing the components in parts of the hilt and threading together has been, watching some of that stuff and participating has been really cool.
Man,
But
there's so many neat things out there from different people's ideas. I mean, that's where this community really thrives. Because if lightsabers was made by just one or two people, the technology would not be where it's at now. So I mean, it's really a group effort. You know, I get ideas all the time. I'll be looking at people's posts, and I'm like, man, that is such a neat idea from somebody that just does it as a hobby. He doesn't even sell sabers. You know, and there's just so much, you know, to take in from different people. And it really amazes me is I see, not knocking nobody, but I see some of the best little ideas from the people that think that they're not doing good work. You know what I mean? People
yeah,
need to take a step back and say, hey, you know, I did some really cool stuff with just having a Dremel. You know, just a little shout out for all you guys. You know, you don't have to have all the high tech tools to do good work, and you know, you guys deserve a little pat on the back because I've seen a lot of good stuff out there.
oh, I see a comment here, which is weird because I didn't think we had live comments.
That's cool. Let's see it.
So, Solo Sabers LLC, which would be Jeremy Puckett,
Yeah, I like him.
says a legend. And I might add, Jeremy is the one that printed me that chassis. And
Oh, nice.
his customer service is phenomenal. And
He's been knocking them out, man. It's like every day he's got a new post out.
yeah.
Like, how these people do so much work so fast.
Well, and that's another thing. There's kind of, I would say, let me just go on a limb and say the elder statesmen of the community that put out X amount of work per month. And with the way the community's gone in the events over the last couple of years, I got to make sure I get this out before I say something stupid. There's guys that are really pushing a lot of work out, and what I don't want to see, and what I fear is that, like, I don't want to see these guys burn out. You know what I mean? And like tomorrow, I'm going live with Sodermeyer, and I know that guy works his ass off. He spends so much time at work, and I swear he doesn't sleep. You know, so whereas I work full time, so building sabers is a side gig for me. You are, however, full time, which brings to mind something else I wanted to ask you about. For people that have no idea, what's a day in the life of Grif? What is, what time do you wake up and become Grif the White and start machining stuff? And you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. And it varies with me because I go through my moods and spells just like anybody else. And since I'm self-employed, it's easy to fall into different moods and spells, because, all my life I have worked for other people. And, no matter what kind of mood you're in, you got to do what the boss says. Forget your mood. Well, now, I've been self-employed for a while. It's easy to fall into those moods. But right now, on a normal day, I wake up about anywhere from 7 to 7:30 normally on my own. I do take my time and have me some coffee and cigarettes. I'm not the kind of person where I feel like I got to jump out there and get right on it. Go feed my stepson's cat, come back, have another cup of coffee, and then I usually get to it. I'll watch a couple videos on YouTube, see what's going on in the world news-wise, and then I'd say 11 is when I'm hard working. I might seem kind of slow to some of you guys, but hey, it's my life. And but I'll sometimes work later to make up for that. And then I'm pretty balls to the walls. I usually don't eat until dinner, which is bad, but that's the way I am. So some days are stronger than others, and then I go through my spells where I'll get out there at about 8:30 or 9, and I'm working till 11 o'clock at night. So it really just depends on the time of year or what kind of mood I'm in. I'm not seeing you now, Clint. Are you still there? So anyway, just to keep it rolling, I mean, I just vary depending on, sometimes winter will make me act different, summer will make me act different, depending on how my energy level is and what I'm feeling, what I got going on too. If I'm feeling pushed on the amount of work I got, I might bust ass a little bit more. So I hope Clint comes back. I'm not seeing him right now. Send him a little message here and see what's up. Still trying to get off cigarettes. I was smoking 2.5 packs a day, man. I don't know how I survived. That's probably part of why I was sick last month, too. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Clint, or maybe you guys see Clint and I'm just talking for nothing. Well, it says I'm in the show and everybody can see and hear me. But yeah, I do dip out of the community off and on a bit just because, I wasn't brought up with all this technology and Facebook and everything. So, and I'm kind of old. So a lot of times y'all's conversations, I'm just not, I guess I'm old. And then, a lot of drama too, I got on the other day and the first thing I saw was drama about KR because he had sold a couple Sabers from '89. I'm like, man. So I dipped out again. I just don't need the drama. And then again, depending on my mood, I might be into doing a bunch of videos on my page or not. Kind of try to see what the crowd is into also. If I don't get much response, I figure people aren't into the videos at the time. Let's see what Clint says here. He just messaged me. Yeah, my clock's still ticking. Says I'm in the show. I do have a couple ideas for some sabers I want to make and sell as soon as I get caught up on what I'm doing now. I'm definitely not looking to start nothing else in any new projects till I get them Mark 7s out. I'm still trying to catch up on some backlog, of course. Not just the Mark 7s. I got some other guys that's been waiting a long time also for me. I appreciate everybody being so patient with me and not fussing. That really means a lot to me. Occasionally I'll get a message from you guys. I try to answer as quick as I can. Looks like Clint's laptop messed up, waiting for it to reboot. So I'll just keep on gabbing my jaws. Definitely like The Mandalorian, though. Season 1 was, okay. It was not bad. It kept me interested. It made me want to watch. And then season 2 was like pretty kick-ass for me, especially that ending where Luke showed up. That was pretty cool, man. Thought of Luke and Baby Yoda, and yes, I still call him Baby Yoda. But thought of them popping up here and there and some other stuff is kind of exciting. And then seeing a 10-year-old Luke is kind of exciting too. See some scenes of Vader. That'll be exciting. But all you guys that are in this community, you guys all deserve a shout out. I mean, the stuff y'all do. You know, to me, it doesn't matter if you're making from CNC equipment or just have a hacksaw and a grinder. I mean, I've seen a lot of cool stuff from both ends out there, and just the fact that you're doing what you want to do and the best that you can with what you got, that's what matters. I mean, that's how I learned. I mean, I remember being 20, and I did went out and bought me a Sears Craftsman belt grinder. I had a hand grinder, a drill, a hacksaw, some sandpaper, and you know, I was making stuff. Wasn't making lightsabers back then, but I was making stuff. I always liked making stuff as far back as I can remember. And then, you know, after a while, you're like, hey, I got a little extra money. I think a Dremel would be great. And then a little while after that, hey, man, this tool would be great and helpful. And then, you know, before you know it, 5 or 10 years down the road, you might be setting yourself up a little mini machine shop there at your house and doing that. You know, it's all about growth, just making the best of what you can at the level you're at. And if you're doing that, it's all good. I mean, I see amazing stuff from the guys with the big machines too. I mean, even the stuff that is mass produced from over in China. I mean, I like some of those sabers too. I'm a custom guy, and that's what interests me. So that's more of what I talk about. I never mean to down or disrespect the guys that get the mass produced stuff done as well. I mean, you guys know I'll sometimes use the MHS parts, especially the pommels, because that just saves me so much time, and their stuff is good quality. So when I see a chance to do that, because I mean, some of them pommels, you know, like the Obi-Wan pommel, that kind of takes a minute to make on manual equipment, and then you know, especially to get it right, to where it's evenly at all the clock positions around. You know, so yeah, I'm going to buy MHS pommel and make the few changes to it that's needed so it works for me on that. I do try to make as much as I can on my own, just because that's what I feel like my business is about. I feel like people come to me because they want the custom stuff. You know, if they could get a saber made completely out of MHS parts, you know, they're just not going to come to me. You know, not that there's anything wrong with having MHS sabers. You know, it's just not what I do. I do try to let people know that you know, any single part that I didn't make completely, I'll let them know, hey, this is MHS and I modified it. I do try to be upfront with everybody. So yeah, I'm just rambling on as much as I possibly can here. Clint says he's coming back in a minute. Definitely been growing my beard out, man. I've trimmed up the scragglies a few times, so it's not as long as it could be, but I'm trying to keep it a little full looking. Fighting with my mustache, I go back and forth on trimming that up or trying to get the shape going. Letting the hair grow out too. Just got it cut a little bit. It needs more cut, but I don't want to go too short. Been getting into cowboy stuff lately. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see a couple of my posts there. Be a hippie cowboy when I grow up. Talk about movies just to keep this going. I did enjoy the prequels. The episode 2, I cannot watch that one. I popped that in a while back, and man, that's just so cringy. I mean, it's good to have the story there, and if you just want to see some lightsaber action, you know, skip to some of that. But just to sit and watch that movie, I just cannot do it. Episodes 1 and 3 I like. I mean, in all of them, I never liked the fact that they had to go back and fit R2 and 3PO in it, and Chewbacca knowing Yoda, that whole thing. I'm like, nah, why'd you have to do that? You're just messing the story up now. And R2 and 3PO being involved through all that mess, but yet nobody told Luke nothing. I mean, yeah, they wiped 3PO's mind, but R2, I don't know. I'm sure there's some kind of canon stuff there to make up for that, but I just never liked that. Chewbacca and Yoda knowing each other so well, but yeah, whatever. But hey, as far as the overall story, there is stuff in there that needed to be told, so I'm good with the overall story of episodes 1 through 3. Man, are you back?
Yeah.
Holy shit, I was talking as much as I could.
I'm gonna drop this right now. Firefox sucks. It's damn well gonna update when it wants to, but
Right.
And anyway,
I talked about as much stuff as I possibly could, man. I know I put a couple.
I know what a shit show that was. I'm just like, all of a sudden it froze when I went to click on hover over a comment, and I'm like, what's going on? All of a sudden, boom, Firefox is just like spank. Nope, be back in a minute. Anyhow, no, it's cool. One of the things that you were talking about, because I ripped out my cell phone, and I'm like, holy shit, I hope Grif's okay. He's going to keep it going, right? All right. So not that we're like filling time, but I knew it was just a minor, time-consuming inconvenience. You were talking about guys in small shops. You have a passion over guys that have like the smaller equipment being able to achieve great things. I think that's how I would put it, how I understand that. So really kind of talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm all about. I mean, if I have my equipment break down, I almost get excited because I can start thinking of how else I can do this with some hand tools or something. And that's how I learned through, almost with everything that I know through life was starting out with bare minimum and trying to figure stuff out. And that's just my mentality now. If somebody came along and said, I'm going to give you a CNC lathe, of course I would accept it just because of the value of it, but I don't want one. Yeah. I love doing manual stuff. I love working with my hands, and I like being challenged with my mind. And so, yeah, I'm all about you guys that do nothing but Dremel and grinding and sanding and whatever you have to do to get something done. That's just my love in life right there.
Yeah.
So much respect to you guys that do it with bare minimum.
Well, you're doing it too, so kind of have to.
Yeah, we got our manual lathes, so in some people's eyes, we are doing it with bare minimum. But these guys, they're just getting into the hobby or can't afford to have a lathe or whatever. They make do with a file and a hacksaw and stuff.
Oh,
much respect to you guys.
That's one of those things that I would like to point a big fat finger at some of the installers out there, and we have a couple of mutual friends that do that. We'll say what was one of the best secret the community's never heard of, I believe is one phrase I heard, and which to me is beautiful. Installers that can take an completely unorthodox build and make it work.
Yeah.
For me, especially because I don't install, I do my absolute best with my limited install knowledge or insight to make sure that the saber has proper wire channel, especially in the event of a crystal chamber. Everything's fastened. If you're retrofitting something, that everything is secure enough. to proceed with the install and so on and so forth. And then you have your installer that is not just taking chassis from X, electronics from Y, and putting it in the hilt, making it fit. Like the guys that can actually like hash out parts and make everything work in harmony. You know what I mean? That's beautiful to me.
Man, I mean, just to add to what you just said, I've got nothing but respect for those guys too, because a lot of people think that I'm an installer, but I'm not really. I install in the stuff that I make, and I plan out what I make so that it's installable. As far as taking any saber that somebody mails me on any given day and installing it, I'm not that guy. and you talk about being able to fit anything and anything, man, those guys like Satoshi and Roland, and I mean the list could go on, but those are just the two top guys that come to my head that I have mad respect for. They'll take anything and make anything and make it fit together. I'm not at that level. I mean, some of the stuff that I do might appear that I could be at that level, but I'm not. Just to be known, I'm not.
Well,
I try to be.
And to be honest, there is a lot of installers, especially in the last, I would say, 2 years, and some guys have dropped out of the community because of it. But a lot of installers that have said, you know what, unless I make well, and you just said yourself, unless I make the hilt or have participated somehow in the design, I am not going to install it.
Yeah.
And which, I guess that's fair game. I mean, everyone has their freedom of choice, right?
I mean, I'm not knocking nobody, but there are a lot of sabers made by people that are relying on China. And I'm just saying this from the heart. I'm not knocking nobody, but there are a lot of people, they'll do a design for a saber, have it made in China, and no thought was given into the actual install of it. If it wasn't for somebody like Rick at Goth who figures out how to make it installable, the saber would be crap. And I'm not touching that stuff unless it's a saber that I buy for myself and I need to figure out how to get it installed for my own purposes. I'm not going to do that kind of work and feel like I can charge a customer money for it. It's just not what I want to do.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair to say. So, all right. Well, now that I'm finally back on, we're getting close to the hour mark. Is there, just to take a moment, is there anything that you want to say or kind of get out there to the community?
Yeah, there is.
I want to amend the end of that question. Because you have been so quiet, you do keep to yourself and you kind of sit back and watch what goes on in the groups and stuff, because let's face it, some of it is a shit show. So proceed with your answer.
Okay, I'm going to start with saying what my number one complaint about the community is it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. There's so many people that come into the community and think that they're here and think that they have the right to talk down to everybody else. And this is new and old people alike. I see it. And so my sympathy goes out for the newcomer and the little guys that have to put up with that crap, trying to make a name for themselves. So my advice to everybody is know your place in this world and realize we're all just a bunch of little specks. Sometimes people need direction, but there's a big difference between direction and sarcasm just because you want to be a jerk. So I'm not going to talk about that side of it no more. I'm going to talk to the people who really just love Star Wars and love lightsabers and want to be better at what they do. Appreciate what you can do now and know that tomorrow you can do better. And forget about what people say talking down to you, because they were at your level one time, no matter if they remember it or not. So, so in the end, man, you do you. You have one life to live, and you live yours the way you want to. You make what you want to make, and as long as you're always progressing and you're happy, that's all that matters.
That's pretty much the perfect answer from what I was looking, not looking for from you.
Probably what you expected from me, knowing that we've talked quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because there is a lot of people out there that went and got a lathe and then all of a sudden they want a mill, and it's like, calm down, spend 2-3 years on what you're doing and then graduate to the next. But there's some people doing really impressive stuff and they don't have any machines. And those are the guys too that I'm like, holy crap, how you building beautiful sabers, doing runs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is fantastic work. Keep going. And
there's some sabers I see out there, and I realize how they built it, and I'm kind of ashamed of myself because I'm like, here I've got some of this equipment that most people just wish that they had, and look what they did without it. It's amazing.
Yeah. One person that I'm going to point viewers to, and he just got a feature article with saber sourcing, which a lot of people follow and stuff, is As He Showcase.
Yes.
Bro.
I'm so impressed with that. Yes.
Really, his work is unbelievable. So, yeah. If
I got to be straight.
You haven't seen As He Showcase on Facebook, go look him up, As He's Workshop.
Oh, I have. I'm already following him. I'm just not on there enough to where he probably knows that I really dig his work. But at first, when I saw that he was going to start a new business, I'm like, of course, that's probably one of my bad attitude times. I remember saying, oh, great, here's another one. Overnight wonder. But then I saw the work a week later. I'm like, oh, shit.
super fine details, like the etching, the crystal chambers, the, what do you call it? Like whatever, showing off the electronics and stuff, anyhow.
Yes.
I can't, the word escapes me right now for some reason. And the overall aesthetic of sabers, the shroud cutting, everything is just phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah. So, his stuff really reminds me of the Old Republic stuff. When I see some of his work, Brad of Sloth Furnace comes to mind a little bit. Not that I feel like he copies him. It's just that kind of old style. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a very defined style.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right. Well, having said that, it's what do you call it? Labor Day weekend.
Oh yeah.
So
it is, isn't it?
What's your plans for a little time off, and then we'll sign off and do our thing?
I have no plans. Might do a little yard work tomorrow. I'm finishing up a saber for a customer this weekend, so it's not really a weekend off for me.
No more tree work.
Hey man, you ain't got to tell me twice, man. Just so all you public knows, I have gotten out of shape. And swinging that axe that morning after just having some coffee and no warm up was the worst possible idea you can have at the age of 52. I'm just saying.
Please at least tell me you were swinging a bearded axe.
No, it was a cheap Home Depot axe.
Damn. Okay. Well, that's your problem. You got to swing a bearded axe.
Are in here not getting used.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was a good time, Grif. We'll conclude and let people go back to their day. And anything else?
Just may the force be with you. Oh.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that, we'll call it a day. Happy Labor Day to all our American friends. In Canada, we have a long weekend, like every, I don't know, once a month or something. And it escapes me that you guys you get like 0 time off. So,
I mean, I sometimes forget that you're Canadian, and I ain't gonna lie, I know nothing about y'all's culture and holidays and what you guys celebrate. So knowing you has been amazing on hearing that you don't know about what we do.
Yeah.
You know, I guess y'all might be like that too. How can you not know about this holiday?
Well, and that's the thing. Like someone commented because I've actually been taking Fridays off because I save time from work, blah blah blah. So I'm using bank time to take a couple of Fridays, a few Fridays off, so that I have an extra long weekend. And someone, I think it was Barry Lum from Australia, made a comment about me taking all these long weekends, and I'm like, I don't even know if they have long weekends there. I didn't think to ask, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I want, if I can, I'm going to, and I'm going to come home, do whatever. It's an extra day of work and machining in the shop, tinkering on stuff. So anyhow.
Oh,
So,
I want to give one more piece of advice to all you guys starting your business or whatever. Do not overwork yourself. Pace yourself. I remember plenty of days where I was working 7 days a week at this, from daylight to dark, and man, you will wear yourself out and you'll make yourself hate what you do. Pace yourself, take breaks. If a customer gets mad because he didn't get his saber that week, he will get over it. Not that you need to disrespect them, but most people will understand it's not good to end up hating what you do. So just pace yourself on this stuff, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And even as a part-time builder.
Yes. I mean, especially as a part-time builder, because you probably have another job, full-time job, like you have a family to raise, and then you're trying to bust butt on this second job that you've created for yourself, making lightsabers, and the added stress of not wanting to piss your customers off gives you a little more drive. And then what you end up with is you're wore out, you got a pissed off wife, and you got stuff around the house that you put off doing.
Yeah. And that's a harsh reality. Reality by Grif. Hashtag.
Right.
All right, bro.
All right. This is fun, man. Thanks.
We'll sign off. You have a good evening, and maybe we'll even have a Grif 2.0 interview. Let's do that.
There we go. When you're bored, just have me on.
When I'm bored. All right. So give me a couple hours then.
Right.
All right. Well, you have a good night, and may the force be with you.
Have a good one. Thanks for having me.
Have a good long weekend.
Same to you.
All right. Cheers, Grif.
Peace. May the force be with you.
Peace.